Welcome again to the Encore webinar series. I'm Mark Blevis, Director of Public Affairs and Marketing with the National Office of Commissionaires. Today we're joined by Stephen Grant. Hi, Stephen, again.
Hello.
Stephen joined our Nova Scotia division just over a year ago to lead the Commercial and Government Investigations and Threat Risk Assessment unit for Atlantic region. He is a specialist in crime prevention, having served a distinguished 35-year career in the RCMP, retiring with the rank of inspector. He claims his career highlights, and there are many, pale in comparison to being a grandfather. Congratulations. With that, Stephen, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mark, and welcome from Nova Scotia. I spent the better part of the past 40 years of my life conducting investigations or leading teams of investigators themselves. It's a different kind of work, whereas the purpose is not just to determine truth, but in most cases also attach blame to some act or behavior. It's contrary to many people's inclinations to accept responsibility for their actions, particularly if those actions are clearly inappropriate or criminal in nature. When caught or cornered with the facts, many people tend to minimize the event or attempt to shift blame to others or circumstances, or in many cases, a great many people simply deny it. Arriving at the truth, then, usually isn't an easy task. I would suggest that not everyone is equipped with the experience or the tools necessary to achieve that purpose. That's why you need an investigator. Let's consider this. You're the CEO of a rapidly growing construction company, composed of 4 teams of workers, each led by a field supervisor. Each team works independently on housing and building construction projects. Business is booming. This morning, your company's financial officer brought you several handwritten notes from one of your team supervisors requesting the purchase of tools and other equipment which were claimed to have been lost or stolen at their various work sites. This occasionally happens, so the financial officer wasn't particularly concerned. But she began to notice a consistent pattern. Financial officer pointed out that this team's losses were larger than the other 3 combined, and costs were steadily increasing. When questioned about the requests, the supervisor shrugged it off as just the price of doing business. While the losses were enough to affect your bottom line, is it something you're prepared to ignore? What do you do? One of the options you should consider is hiring an external investigator. Our divisions generally have a pretty deep bench strength when it comes to former police officers. There are clear advantages in having an investigator with police training and experience, not just necessarily a police officer. The investigation can be done more discreetly, and by removing the threat of a criminal charge, you may be able to come to a better and quicker solution to your problem. An investigation shakes things up. It makes people very uncomfortable. There's a tendency to try to preserve relationships above attempting to solve the problem if you use your own people. This can be very dangerous. It exposes you to accusations of favoritism or worse. An impartial investigation ensures that you get a fact-based result. It may help to preserve some internal harmony in the company as well. Investigations offer the additional opportunity for examining security awareness and protective measures in place in a company. Threat risk assessments are a part of our services at Commissionaires and should be a natural accompaniment to investigations. This is added value not generally offered by police services. If the police are coming to investigate an issue at your business, their purpose will be to lay a criminal charge. Is this your goal, recognizing both the pros and cons that might result from these actions? Perhaps what you want to achieve is to gather evidence for the removal or discipline of an offending employee. Police will control a criminal investigation. You have the option with our investigations to determine for yourself the outcome. Unless you've been exceptionally lucky, you will encounter some criminal activity at some time in your business. The key to ensure that it doesn't get away for you is to get at it right away. My experience has been ignoring even minor crimes leads to entitlement, disrespect for company leadership, and more crime. Public complaints and harassment allegations are unpleasant, time-consuming, and destructive to the company's reputation and the welfare of your people if not addressed effectively and in a timely manner. Once more, we can help. There are times when surveillance and information gathering are key to providing evidence. The police rarely have the resources to perform this task other than for very significant cases. We have experienced people who can do this type of work. The tragedy this spring in Nova Scotia only certainly heightened security awareness in our province. Commissionaires have the capacity to provide on-site training for your people in everything from dealing with an angry and disruptive client to an active shooter. Schools provide survival training for our children and our grandchildren, but few companies and other agencies do the same for their parents. Disruption caused by COVID-19 placed us all in a very dynamic environment. It's a good time to assess your security needs and to focus staff on situational awareness as they contend with a very different world. How easy would it be for a dangerous person to enter your place of business? Are you prepared for that? We can test your response, provide advice for change. We will also do this, with your permission, in a clandestine manner, which creates no disruptions and establishes your security readiness. Commissionaires investigators have extensive training and background in domestic and international policing, as well as public and private sector investigations. As former police officers, we have experience in interview techniques, case management, statement analysis, preparation of reports, and evidence management. Investigations are a good accompaniment to background screening, which is a full service we provide to individuals and organizations. Background checks can serve as a preventative tool for pre-employees, contractors, volunteers, and suppliers. Here's another situation to ponder. You take a great deal of pride in leading a forward-thinking, progressive company which demonstrates its commitment to community help and support. Over the past several years, your company has been a leader in your field regarding sponsoring numerous causes and charities. You recently were awarded an award for community spirit and public service from City Hall, which you now prominently display in the lobby of your building. These initiatives have been championed by a rising young leader in your company. He is bright, energetic, and shows tremendous promise. Even though he is very busy as a project manager, he dedicates many hours of his off time organizing support for your company's community outreach. You have a major internal retooling about to launch, which will entail significant time and personnel committed across all branches. You're concerned that your star fundraising employee, who has been able to run all the community initiatives on his own until this time, might need some relief in light of the big project. You assign someone else temporarily. Today, the temporary community fundraiser came to you with a concern. She was personally involved in a highly successful golf tournament last summer and remembered that they raised more than $10,000. The accounting records for the community event indicates that only $7,000 was raised by the event. Curiously, she looked over several other funds and found that the figures also didn't match quite up. Where did the money go? The past 2 decades have seen a steady shift away from public policing to private policing models. This trend will only grow with the costs and resources that can't compete with the demand. COVID-19 and some erosion in confidence in policing may also contribute to this development. Our competitive edge is the ability to deliver a broad range of services, offering the Commissionaires' level of experience and competency that's unmatched in the security field. Commissionaires have a very established brand, and the public and our clients understand and appreciate the traditional protective services we provide. We are also growing and evolving. We can now offer you a broader range of services as your security partner. While private investigation as a field is very full, they tend to limit themselves to being primarily a surveillance service for work fraud and domestic cases. There's many other avenues that can be explored, tailored to meet your specific challenges or problem. We currently have within our division people with the experience and desire to become involved in doing investigations. We are a reliable and professional service ready to meet your investigational needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. You talked a little bit about criminal investigations versus disciplinary investigations, and I was wondering if, I know this is a little bit arbitrary, but you also want to create an environment where people can learn and feel safe as well. And I wonder if there's a threshold in your experience that determines what an appropriate investigation or incident is that might merit a discussion with somebody and a rejigging of policies and such, where there might have been confusion as opposed to direct contempt, versus something that is much more significant than that, be it criminal or otherwise.
And that's why I think the investigation's a very crucial part of the decision making. Basically, in most cases, police officers have a very limited time. They'll be looking at whatever evidence the manager has already acquired, and will make a decision based on usually what they have at hand. There's not an awful lot of time in many cases to do deep digging, unless of course you're talking about a very significant issue. The reality is most companies unfortunately have a lot of small issues, a lot of small thefts, which can build and build and build. Recently dealt with a company that mentioned the fact that 6 months ago, all that they were missing were small appliances and small tools. And the next thing, after 6 months had gone by, generators were disappearing, and the thefts gone from a few dozen dollars to thousands of dollars, essentially. So to be able to dedicate some time to build a case and say, okay, this is what's happening, then it becomes an opportunity for the decision maker to decide how they want to take this, whether they still see this as a discipline issue. Perhaps they have a deeper understanding of what a particular individual might be going through and decide to go that way, or they can always turn the matter over to the police. It gives them that option.
All right, well, thank you very much, Stephen. It is now 12:46 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great day.